All right, what's good? What's good, man? Let's get into it. Well, this is just a summer video, a little documentary, as I call it. I call it a documentary because it goes beyond what I record for the most part. You feel me? And let's get into it. We're gonna go down a loophole. We're gonna bring up some history. We're gonna bring up just some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say this right here, right now. American sports hate black fathers. They hate black dads. I've been saying it for years, and it's so evident. And now with Shador Sanders being drafted, LeBron James and Bronny in the league and stuff like that. I should have did this video maybe a year ago, but better late than never. You know what I'm saying? Since it's the off season for basketball, football, I'm assuming none of you really care about baseball that much, and even if you did, it's like the middle of summer. Like no one cares about baseball. Let's be for real until October. Let's be for real. You know what I'm saying? That's when I see most of the baseball posts. But I want to talk about this. America hates black dads. Now, let me share my screen real quick so I can show you guys this picture real quick of Deion and Shador. So Deion Sanders, Deion Sanders and Shador. Obviously, if you've been living under a bus, Shador is Deion's son, and there's been a lot of hate for Deion and Shador Sanders. People don't like Shador because he's arrogant, because he's cocky, because he thinks he knows it all and stuff like that, which is true. And people blame Deion for that, which is true. I will say that Deion, gave Shador this mentality of being cocky, don't be humble, don't be appreciative of everything, always act like you're the best and all that other stuff, which is true. I will admit that. But there's always two sides to the story. There's always two sides to the story. So I'm going to use Deion as a launching out. I'm going to use Deion as a launching out point, right? And to explain this, right? Deion Sanders didn't have a dad growing up. By his admission, he said he didn't even know his dad. I think he had a stepdad, but let's be for real. Stepdads ain't your dad. You feel me? No, kids, they respect their stepdads, but they, come on, man. Being a stepdad, there's a reason why being a stepdad nowadays is it's looked down upon. So Deion didn't have his dad. So now with him having kids, especially sons, he's being overprotective and he's showing his inexperience of not having a dad with his son. Deion showing that, he's telling his son, be cocky. A dad would tell his son, don't be cocky, be humble, keep working. Deion never experienced that growing up. But people don't want to talk about that. People don't want to give Deion that sympathy. I'm not saying what Deion's doing is right with Shador. I'm not saying that at all. I'm really not. All I'm trying to say is there's always two sides to the story. And people to sit here and criticize Shador, people to sit here and criticize Deion will never, ever look into the details of it. Well, people say, well, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of black people out there without dads and stuff like that. Yeah. And look how they turned out. Look at the black community right now with the single motherhood. I mean, that's a bigger topic, probably not even for this discussion of my channel. You know what I'm saying? This is a sports channel. But all I'm trying to say is I'm not saying what Deion's doing is right. All I'm trying to say is I have some sympathy for Deion Sanders because with the circumstances that he grew up. I can't imagine growing up not knowing my dad. No, RIP my dad. He passed away. But I can't imagine not growing up without a dad. Now Deion's looking at his son and he's being overprotective. He's trying to be the dad that he wish he had. And maybe he's getting wrong information. Maybe he thinks his dad wouldn't want him to be humble, will want him to be arrogant and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's a launching out point. And also, and I want to bring it to this. Hold on, clicked off of this. LeBron James and his son Bronny. Now, people make a big deal about Bronny and LeBron playing together, which is Bronny on the team because of LeBron? Absolutely, 100%. Bronny should really still be in college right now cooking. He should really still be in college right now because I don't even think he played in college. But people don't want to sit here and give LeBron sympathy. Once again, LeBron James, and let's be for real, and I'm going to get into this later. LeBron James grew up very hectic, didn't know his father, and his mother was a crackhead criminal. She was a crackhead criminal. I don't care if anybody doesn't like to hear that. She was a crackhead criminal. Go look up the history. Go look up the history, bro. Deion did grow up rough, but LeBron James grew up so rough, it's not even funny. And people don't want to sit here and be like, okay, let's take a step back. Why does LeBron act like that? Why does LeBron overprotecting Bronny? Like, no one wants to sit here and be like, well, maybe he didn't grow up without a dad. He grew up without a dad. He didn't experience having that dad, letting him be his own independent person. LeBron James' dad being like, okay, you got to do you. You got to do you, bro. You got to get out my nest and make your own nest. Same thing with Deion Sanders. But people want to sit here and bash LeBron James and bash Deion Sanders. For what? No one's willing to go look up the history. There's a reason for everything. There's a reason for everything. People want to sit here and criticize LeBron and Deion because they don't like black dads. Let's take it a different angle, right? Let's just take it a different angle because people are going to be like, oh, well, those are two exceptions, RJ. Oh, RJ, you don't know what you're talking about. RJ, this, that, and third. I can see, I can see all, the simps, the single mother boys, the single mothers, all you guys, whatever, talking, right? Let's take it another direction. Let's talk about LeVar Ball. And everybody remembers LeVar Ball. Everybody remembers Big Baller Brand. Everybody knows Lonzo, LaMelo, LiAngelo. You know what I'm saying? Everybody hated on LeVar Ball. Everybody hated on LeVar Ball. For what? For what? People hate on LeVar Ball because he said two things. Number one, he said his son will be better than Steph Curry. And people got mad that he said he'll beat Michael Jordan 1v1. First of all, anybody who grew up in the black community, everybody who grew up in the hood who has black uncles, there's always that one uncle, that one friend of the family that thinks they could beat Michael Jordan 1v1. They think they could beat Manny Pacquiao in a street fight. They think if they're needed and go out, they could have played wide receiver in the NFL. That's nothing new. So people are getting upset that he said he could beat Michael Jordan 1v1. You could clearly tell he's just trolling. He's a joke. And if he means it, who cares? Who cares? Now, let's get to the main point. LeVar Ball got hated for supporting his sons. So let me get this straight. Unfortunately, in this perspective, a lot of black boys are not, raised with their dads. You feel me? They're not raised with their dads. And now you actually have an active father. You actually have an active dad in LeVar Ball who we can see cared about his kids. I mean, look how they grew up. Them dudes grew up rich. You actually have an active dad, and you're taking a dump on him because he's hyping up his sons. What is he supposed to say? His sons suck? That he'd be surprised if they make it to the league? They can't dribble. Like, what is he supposed to say? He's supposed to hype up his sons. Why wouldn't he? And people want to say, well, he's stupid for saying Lonzo's better than Steph Curry. Do it at the time. And I think I was like 16, 17. And actually, shout out to LeVar and Lonzo. They actually got me into college basketball. I started watching college basketball because of them. Because I was like, okay, who's this Lonzo dude? And that's how I found out of De'Aaron Fox and all these other dudes. At the end of the day, did I agree at the time, my 16, 17-year-old self, did I agree that Lonzo will be better than Steph Curry? No. But at the same time, you never know. The dude's in college. You never know. You can have assumptions. You can make a prediction, but you never know. Obviously, did it turn out like that? No. Especially because of Lonzo's injuries. But at the same time, you never know. But at the same time, he's hyping up his son. What's wrong with hyping up your son? I don't understand that. It's because America hates black dads. You actually, and LeVar actually had a dad. His grandpa, Lonzo's grandpa, was in. They have a big family, so he actually had a dad. So people hate on LeVar Ball because he hyped up his son. Because he hyped up his sons. Who cares? And they took it out on Lonzo. Yeah, I remember in real time, people used to. You had Patrick Beverly, his mama boy. So I don't know if he had a dad growing up, but he seemed like a mama boy. His mama boy self saying he's over here shoving Lonzo, hard fouling Lonzo, looking at LeVar saying, that's because of you, bro. That's because you hyped up your son. It's like, bro, Patrick Beverly, you're a clown. There's a reason why you're playing in Israel right now. You're a clown. People got mad at LeVar for hyping up his sons. And I'm going to look at it from this perspective, right? And people will sit here and say, well, oh, well, RJ, it doesn't matter. Well, you're wrong, this, that, and the third, right? Can I just tell you guys something? LeBron James, Deion Sanders, and LeVar Ball, right? All them dudes get criticized for supporting their son. No one wants to look into the history or look at the obvious facts about LeBron and Deion Sanders. No one wants to sit there and everybody wants to sit here and get mad at LeVar Ball for hyping up his sons. But yet, when it comes to black mothers, black moms, they get hyped up all the time. Prime example, LeBron James's mom. She did nothing besides give LeBron James trauma growing up, not knowing his dad. And yes, that's on LeBron James' dad too, but that's just as much on LeBron James' mom as his dad. Why are you having a baby with someone who doesn't want to have a kid? But yet Gloria James, I think that's her. Yes, Gloria James gets hyped up for being there for LeBron. For what? Go look up Gloria James's rap sheet. She was a crack addict. She broke into people's houses. I remember Chris Carter literally saying LeBron James grew up hard. LeBron James's coaches are the reason why he's where he's at. Not Gloria. She didn't teach him how to. She just all she did was give birth to the dude. She ain't do nothing. And LeBron James, unfortunately, not knowing his dad, he's gonna, that's his mom. And sons are always closer to their moms. At the same time, Gloria did nothing besides give LeBron James hell growing up. Go look up her rap sheet. I don't care if anybody gets mad at me in the chat. Go look up her rap sheet. Period. End of story. Let's bring up someone else, right? Kevin Durant's mom, Wanda Durant. Wanda Durant. She gets all the credit for KD's success. Now, does she deserve some credit? Absolutely. Wanda Durant, I think she had 2-3 kids and she, raised them all by herself. Credit to her. But at the same time, why does she get credit, but Deion Sanders don't get credit? LeVar Ball don't get credit. LeBron James for Bronny don't get credit, but she gets all the credit. She ain't teach them how to play basketball. All she did was pay for them, which respect to her. But at the same time, I'm going to keep it real with you, and people might not like this. Kevin Durant is he's dang near 7 foot. Let's just say he's a 6'11", power forward who can play like a guard, who's lengthy, can shoot, can dribble, can, somewhat play defense, can dunk. I'm pretty sure there were some AAU coaches that said, hey, Wanda, let me help you out. This is a blue chip prospect right here. I would love to have him on my AAU. I would love to have him on my AAU team. I would love to have him on my high school team. Texas was like, we'll take KD right now. But yet she gets all the credit for being a single mom. But LeVar Ball don't get credit for being a dad raising his kids. Oh, he's supposed to do that. But as black men, they get criticized for not being in the household, and the mom gets all the credit. But if they are there, like a LeVar Ball, like a Deion Sanders, they get no credit. And if this child ends up being like, and they're being overprotective like Deion and what's his name? Deion and LeBron, it's like, oh, that's, they're being overprotective. But then if they're like a LeVar Ball hyping up their sons, it's a problem. So you get no credit for being there, and you get no credit for not being there. But the mom gets all the credit. The mom gets all the credit if she's a success like LeBron or Draymond or KD, and she gets none of the credit if he ends up being a drug dealer or a gang member because there was no dad. So the dad gets all the blame either way. The mom gets all the credit either way. Oh, it's not your fault your son's a blood. It's not your fault your son's a Crip. He didn't have a dad. But if he ends up being a 6'9" basketball player, oh, you get all the credit because he didn't have a dad. You're Deion Sanders. Oh, who cares if he didn't grow up without a dad? Your son he's a failure. He's an idiot. He's a clown. Shador's a clown. LeBron, why are you trying to get Bronny to the Lakers and stuff like that? You're a clown. But your mom, who's a drug addict, she gets all the credit in the world, even though she was in and out of jail and didn't teach you how to dribble damn basketball. That was your AAU coaches. Gets none of the credit at all. Let's look at the NFL draft per se. If you guys, let's look at it from this perspective, right? Jaden Daniels, right? Jaden Daniels' mom is getting now. I will say this: Jaden Daniels, let me look up parents right here. Jaden Daniels' mom gets all the praise in the world. She gets all the praise for how Jaden Daniels comes out, and no one ever mentions Jaden Daniels' dad. Jaden Daniels, you can see right here, had a dad growing up. You can tell. You can tell the way how he acts. He has a dad. He gets no mention. Granted, this is being recorded after the fact, the Juju Watkins thing, and I think she was on Jaden Daniels was like on a date, or he was out and his mom was there. But she's being an overprotective mom, and no one's giving her criticism, besides maybe a few people here and there. No one's giving her any criticism. And no one mentions Jaden Daniels' dad. For what? For what? Because America hates black dads. And this includes black women. Black women hate black dads. Not every one of them, but the majority of them. The majority of them. There's someone else I want to talk about. Oh, here's another one. Jayson Tatum. His mom gets glorified. As you can see, Tatum had a dad growing up. He had a dad growing up. Now, I did a little research on Jayson Tatum. This is like way before I decided to do this documentary. I think Jayson Tatum's dad was absent for, I think, until like 8, 9 years old, because he was as you guys don't know, Jayson Tatum's dad was a basketball player. But he came back, and Jayson Tatum on record said, "Yeah, my dad was hard on me, but he made me to the basketball player I am." When Jayson Tatum tore his ACL, he mentioned his dad saying, his dad was telling him, "Listen, Kobe tore his ACL and he came back. You gotta do the same thing." Jayson Tatum's dad taught Jayson Tatum how to play. Yet Jayson Tatum's mom gets slurped like no ever. They have a commercial together. And I understand Jayson Tatum, he's a proclaimed mama's boy. I get that, I understand that. But the simple fact no one gives credit to Jayson Tatum's dad is utterly ridiculous. It's ridiculous when you can clearly tell he has a relationship with his dad. You could tell he has a relationship with his dad. But his mom gets sponsorships, his mom gets glorified, his mom gets commercials. It's because American sports, America hates black dads, period, end of story. Just a little thought. I just want to throw this out there, right? And you can look up the statistics. And this is according to Kevin Samuels. I think it's on Black Demographics made by black people for black people. Black dads have a better success rate of the child being successful and off the streets than black moms. Yet the court system favors the black moms. We know why. That's a whole different topic for another day. That's a topic, not for this channel. But relating that to sports is that Jayson Tatum, his mom gets, and I'm not taking credit from Jayson Tatum's mom. I'm not. She did her thing. But I'm just saying, where's the equality? Where's the equality? Where's the double standard? Jayson Tatum's dad deserves just as much credit as Jayson Tatum's mom. Hell, he might deserve more credit, because I'm pretty sure he taught Jayson Tatum more how to be a basketball player than Jayson Tatum's mom. Jayson Tatum's dad played in the league, I believe. He played basketball. Like, what are we talking about? Here's another example. Travis Hunter's dad, right? I believe that's not his dad, I don't think. I think that's his dad. I could be wrong. Let me see. Here we go. I know this is Travis Hunter's dad. Travis Hunter, right? During the NFL draft, I literally remember this. This was like a few months ago. Travis Hunter was like, they showed Travis Hunter say, "I want to thank my mom. I want to thank my grandma. I want to thank my aunts." And then they show a little clip at the end where they say, "I want to thank my dad." And they cut it off immediately. Go look it up if they still have it. Travis Hunter literally thanks his dad. I literally had to do research. They show highlights of his Heisman Trophy winning speech. And they mention his mom, they mention his sister, they mention his aunts, they mention his little brother. No mention of his dad. And I literally had to look up him thanking his dad. If I didn't record the Heisman Trophy award thing, I would have never saw the thing. I would have never saw him thanking his dad, getting emotional, talking about his dad. You feel me? And I understand. I think Travis Hunter's dad got locked up for a few years or whatever the case may be. I get that, I understand it. But he was still active in his life. But yet people want to sit here and bash LeBron, Shador, LeVar. For what? For what? I'll give you another example. Cam Newton's dad got bashed for some stuff that happened at Auburn. Nobody cared. Nobody cares. But no one will give credit to Cam Newton's dad for being there. At all. At all. And according to Cam Newton, I guess they were saying, hey, listen, all that stuff is fake. Now, granted, whether you believe Cam Newton took money from Auburn or not, that's your business. I don't care. Cam Newton said, he said that his dad took the fall, so Cam Newton didn't have to take the fall, so he could focus on his NFL career, which, credit to Cam Newton's dad if he did do that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's beyond ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous how black sports dads get crapped on. They get terrorized for no reason, and I'm not gonna take it there, but they'll hype up Dwayne Wade. They'll hype up you're gonna take a dump all over LeBron for Bronny, Shador for Deion for Shador, LeVar for Lonzo, but then hype up Dwayne Wade. But I'm gonna leave that right there. I'm gonna leave that right there. You feel me? It's beyond ridiculous, right? And people want to sit here and going back to Deion. Let's bring this full circle. Let's bring this back full circle. Let's look up Deion and Shador Sanders. Let's look these guys up again. Get another picture of them right here, right? So people were mad at Deion Sanders for, this. In an interview he said that this was going to be an Eli Manning situation where he picked where his son was going to go, which obviously in retrospect it didn't happen. It obviously didn't happen, right? So people got mad for Deion coming out and saying that, but no one gets mad at Eli Manning and Peyton Manning's dad for picking where they would go. I think Peyton was supposed to get drafted to the Broncos, I believe. But I guess he was like, no, I want him to play for the Colts. Eli Manning, for a fact, was supposed to go to the Chargers. Arch Manning didn't want him to go there, and he ended up going to the New York Giants. Why does Arch have any say? Arch was garbage in the NFL. At least Deion Sanders is one of the great. He's not only one of the greatest defensive cornerbacks in football history, he's one of the greatest football players ever. You can make a case Deion Sanders is on Mount Rushmore of football players ever. Yet he doesn't. When people say this is going to be an Eli Manning situation, I'm choosing where he goes. It's a problem. But Arch Manning, who's a bum, who's trash, who's garbage, dude was even better than Andy Dalton. He wasn't even better than Andy Dalton, who's trash. He decides where both his sons go and probably will have influence on where Archie Manning goes. His grandchild will go. He can do that. That's utterly dumb and stupid. It's beyond crazy. It's beyond crazy. Like how Deion, Shador, LeBron and Bronny, LeVar with his boys, they get criticized. And I'm probably forgetting a lot of more people. They get criticized, but black mothers get glorified. How the Manning brothers, Archie Manning, can decide where his son's going. His sons, plural. His sons and probably his grandson will go. It's beyond crazy. And I've been saying this for years. America hates black dads, and I'm using it through the sports lens because this is my channel's a sports channel. America hates black dads. If you're not doing agendas like Dwayne Wade, if you're not an absent dad like LeBron and Deion's dad, even then, unless you're doing agendas like Dwayne Wade, they hate you. Gloria James, who's a crack addict, who, she has a rap sheet longer than a Walmart receipt, she gets all the credit. Wanda Durant gets all the credit in the world for KD, but LeBron James don't get credit for Bronny. I got news for you. I'm pretty sure LeBron James has more impact on Bronny being in the NBA than Gloria James has on LeBron James going to the NBA. I believe all of LeBron James, this is my opinion, this is alleged, LeBron James's AAU coaches looked after LeBron. They were his parents, not Gloria, who's breaking into houses trying to find the best coke and getting her back blown out every time she sees somebody walking down the street. I'm pretty sure Kevin Durant's AAU coaches have more impact on KD being in basketball in the NBA than Wanda Durant does. Just simple facts. Just simple facts. Hell, Kevin Durant said he would. Kevin Durant, out of his own mouth, said if it wasn't for basketball, he would literally be on the streets being a gang member. What does that tell you? The great matriarchy black mother. Your son saying if it wasn't for basketball, I would be a hoodlum. But yet, we got all the smoke for LeVar Ball for being a good dad and having his sons grow up in Chino Hills. We got all the smoke for him though. We got the smoke for Deion Sanders, whose sons grew up good. They didn't miss a meal. They're in the NFL. We got all the smoke for LeBron James, who grew up chaotic and made some of the best living for his sons and his daughter. We got smoke for him though. American sports' biggest hate is black dads. Simple. And I'm probably forgetting a lot of things. You feel me? But at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. That's my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know if you guys like these documentaries, these long videos and stuff like that. This is kind of going back to how my channel was years ago. I would say 2022, so a few years ago. You feel me? It is what it is. RJ out.